There's a skinny on it. I got out of work today. I took off. I strapped my paramotor, put a trash bag over it. I had a terrible day at work all day. Get some blood pumping to my legs. I stand on them and then I sit on them. That's bad for them. Got to have some sort of motion. Feels good. There's a light here too. I guess that's good for camera since I'm talking to the camera. I looked at the weather and it didn't look optimal. And I looked at El Paso and it was just clouds and desert. And Anthony been wanting to do this interview with me. He was gonna mail me a microphone. And I said, no. I said, how weird would it be if I just come out there? He said, bring it. Mama said, bring it. I brought it. I got a lot of driving to do, so when I'm stopped, I really need to be moving around. I'm like almost dancing out here. Should I go off the beaten path? Let's go off the beaten path. There's probably dog poop out here. Stretching is so nice. Hop on one foot, stretch. That feels good. And get back on this highway. Oh my gosh. The long ride. It's a long ride. I ain't bit off this much in a long time, and a long drive like this can hurt you. You gotta stay healthy out here on the road like this. I ain't had my first coffee yet either. I need to have some coffee.
Why don't you stop on by? You're in Texas.
Yeah.
State, I guess.
Yeah. It's gonna be a long haul, sir.
Where are you headed?
To your house.
Oh, this is kind of long. What's up, man?
Like I just said, driving 82 mile an hour across Texas.
I can't believe it's Kyle O. Oh my gosh.
Dude, it's I hadn't done a haul like this since my early years of college.
Heck yeah. Oh, it's good though. It's good. There's so much Texas. I mean, shoot, you know, because you've been on the road.
I'm finna drive across the entire span of it. I was just bored, so I thought I'd call.
It looked like it was good up until noonish.
Whatever everybody's doing, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, definitely want to. So probably once you're rested up, go fly, and then if the weather turns unflyable, then just come and shoot the shit on the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's pretty great.
Made it to Love's truck stop. Pretty good truck stop. They got good bathrooms, good lighting. Couple walked by me. Crazy guy with the camera talking to it. Fun stuff. It gets socially awkward sometimes. You just got to not really give a shit about social awkwardness. Everything's cool. I got my water refilled. I emptied my bladder. I'm gonna push it a couple more hours and see how I feel. I'm gonna stop every 2 hours until I decide, all right, I'm gonna stop here and call it quits. I still got some juice left. Kylo's not retired, he's just old. I'm gonna do some stretches off camera. We're gonna get back with it. Good morning to you. Been driving all night. I stopped and took a little nap, but I've probably been on the road 12 out of the last 15 hours, 14 hours maybe. Shoot, I don't know. Can't even do math anymore. I've got about 52 minutes to go. I'm in the desert. Woo! I'm gonna be so tripping when I get there. I guess I'm still capable. We'll see. If I make it the next 56 miles, we'll know. Quick status update. I made it to El Paso. We finna go fly around. Check it out. Yeah, I think I'm recording. I'm finna do my first launch out of El Paso, Texas after driving all night. We're gonna see how this goes. Hope my legs work. Anthony had to bail. He needed gloves, he said. I thought I might, so I brought mine. Okay, what are we cooking with? A little wind. I think I can do it. Here we go. And that sound was the sound of the microphone becoming unplugged, and I lost the entire audio on this entire flight. So this is the voiceover that you're going to get. Now, Anthony's house is right here in this neighborhood, and if you look, the desert is right next to Anthony's house. He is in such a cool location for Paramotor. He's got this sweet little park here. I mean, when you look at it, it is the only grass out here. I mean, even the yards don't have that much grass. You can see it just to the right there in the screen. little grassy patch next to this huge desert expanse, and he had went back to his house to get some gloves because he forgot to put his gloves in the truck, and I flew around, and there he is coming back. He just left his gear laid out there in the field to get back on, so I waited on him to do his launch, and we didn't have any comms going during the flight, but we had a flight plan. What the plan was we were going to fly over to the Franklin Mountains, and that's the mountains that we're fixing to go to explore, and we were going to explore those for a little while. Then we were going to fly down to the Mexican border. These are the Franklin Mountains. So I noticed this set of trails that led up to some caves in these mountains. And when I landed, I asked Anthony and Leandra, I said, what are the caves up there? They said, oh, those are the Aztec caves. And I was like, oh, neat. Do they have drawings? And they said, yeah, but they're all cocks and balls. There's like nothing ancient or anything, just penises. Oh, boy. But man, what a beautiful morning. Just going up here around these peaks and messing around on the paramotor. It's just amazing. It always is, especially doing a new spot that I've never done. And Anthony's here somewhere with me. I was over at the top messing around. But yeah, the floor of this valley is about 4,000 feet above sea level. And I'm not sure where the peaks are on these Franklin Mountains. I would guess a couple thousand feet up above. So we're probably about 6,000 feet up there. Now, Mr. Tom, the local weather meteorologist, joined us. He's also a host of the podcast regularly. And I didn't know who was in the Jeep down here, but it turns out it was Anthony's kids. He actually did some shenanigans with them that I missed on video. Then we went over here to the Rio Grande. This is the Rio Grande River Bed, and there's no water in here. He told me it was dammed up and they let the water out during the growing season for the farmers, but this is way up on the north end of it. There's always water in the southern part down by the coast, but this part is dry part of the year because they dam off all the water and let it gather up so that they can use that for farming purposes, because this is the middle of the desert. There's not much rain during the summer. It is high and dry, and you can see how everything just has this browned desert look to it. I guess it does turn green sometimes, but this is when we set out toward the border. It was quite a nice flight. I did not know if we were in the United States or over Mexico. I thought the Rio Grande was the border. I didn't fully study the environment before I went down there, and I got sort of turned around. These guys down here to the right in those trucks, those guys were shooting guns, and I was like, is this the cartel? What is this? I don't even know where I'm at, man. I'm just flying across the desert for a half hour with Anthony. Look, air traffic. I thought maybe that was a patrol, but turns out there was an airport right there. We were just flying under the traffic pattern. Yeah, solar energy farm. I thought, no, there's the border fence. I constantly had to turn around to keep up with Anthony. He's a bit slower than me, so my flight path was basically a bunch of circles behind him. Check it out. I'm about to hit his wake turbulence. You can watch my legs and see it hit right there. And I may or may not have flown over Mexico. I'm not going to put it in the video if I did. But that is the border fence. That is the line that separates the United States from Mexico near Paso. Doesn't look like much. It's just a fence in the desert. I mean, it's just a line in the sand when you think about it. But at that point, I was running short on fuel. I really thought that I was going to run out, and my bladder was about to explode. For all the fuel that wasn't in the tank, I had a full tank of urine. So I had to zip on back. I sort of left Anthony in my tracks, and I got out of there. I was done. Went back to home base, and I had to take a whiz and stow my stuff. I had less than a liter of fuel, and the thermals had started to kick up a little bit, so it had gotten just a little bit bumpy, but we were lucky to have this overcast that you can see. It really kept things toned down very nicely, but it still was high, dry desert. And here I am talking to the camera like a numbnuts because I don't know the mic is unplugged. And so, yeah, the sleep-deprived brain. So now I think we got audio. Check this out. It's a beautiful day in El Paso, Texas. Cummy's overcast. A bit of wind today. The flying, I think, unfortunately, is over, but I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops. I don't think they're probably wearing that back home. I was able to do some instruction while I was there, so we hooked in beautiful Leandra into this mini wing, and it was crazy desert conditions. This was later in the day. There were thermals, and the wind was swirling. but she actually spent about 45 minutes and progressed quite nicely. I was rather impressed. Thanks so much for the video, Anthony, because I did not do a lot of recording. Short of the helmet cam and a couple of little clips, I just left the camera gear put up. I don't know if it's because I was so tired or just wanted to fly and hang out and do the podcast, but Anthony took some great photos. He got me and Tom and him. I wished I would have taken one with Leandra. It could have been the cover photo, because we all know pretty girls get the most clicks. Speaking of cover photos, I happen to be a guest on the Paramotor Podcast. This is a show that Anthony puts on. I'll put a link in the description. Very cool show. I liked everything I heard up until the point where I was a guest on it. And then I'm sure it all went to hell at that point. But it's out there if you want to jam it. I love podcasts, and this is one of my new favorites. So hook that up. As soon as the podcast was over, we had a beer and some enchiladas, and I went to bed, and I slept hard. And when I woke up, it was time to make the drive home. I mean, the driving was the majority of the weekend, but I got to witness a beautiful sunrise, and I filmed a couple little clips of it. That was pretty spectacular. And then, of course, I see a sign, Spring Hill. Nope, not my Spring Hill. That's Spring Hills. I'm at a rest area just outside of Pecos, Texas, doing some morning stretches, a little exercise. Got a lot of driving to do today. I've already put 3 or 4 hours behind me. Oh man, I didn't do quite as much videoing as I would have liked to have done at Anthony's. It was sort of a whirlwind trip, 13-hour drive. Get there, fly, hang out, do a podcast, eat some good food, have a couple of drinks, go to bed, get up and roll home. It was a quick turnaround because of the distance. I drove all the way across Texas, and now I'm driving all the way back across it. Officially the longest weekend trip I've ever done. And that's working Friday and Monday is El Paso. That's the bitter limit, it turns out. And that's skipping one night of sleep. I thought I would just vlog about it for a second. The podcast went real well, I think. I don't remember much of it. I'd been up like 40 hours when we did the interview, so I hope I don't sound full retard on there. Anyway, I thought about launching out of this place, but I gotta make the time. I'll fly another day. Back on the road. Yeah, so that was that. I made it home safe. It was a super long, spur-of-the-moment weekend haul. New personal best, 26 hours driving, 13 each way, all the way across Texas. I had so much fun when I was there. The hospitality of Anthony and Leandra was just great. Tom, it was great meeting you. Podcast was cool. I've since listened to it, so it actually came out better than what I was thinking. I didn't know what would happen. It was just one of those spur-of-the-moment decisions, like, hey, it's good. Hey, can I come out there? All right, I'm on the way. Boom. And I did it. I had so much fun while I was there. I wished I would have done it better. I wished I would have stayed longer and explored a little more and studied the area some. I just had to get away, man. I'd been grounded for a while, and it looked better there. Had a good day. Everything was great. Loved the trip. I hope you liked the video. I really didn't go to make a video, but I got a bad habit of making videos about just about everything I do. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Either way, that's that, guys. Got more stuff coming. Like, subscribe, you know what to do, all that stuff. Much love, everybody. Kyle out.